Welcome to Money Answers TV. I'm your host, Jordan Goodman of MoneyAnswers.com. Today we're going to find out more about when it makes sense to buy a term life insurance policy and how to get the best deal on one if you need it. My guest is Thomas Dreyer, life insurance advisor of Longevity Alliance. Thomas, welcome to Money Answers TV.
Thank you for having me, Jordan.
Are there a lot of Americans who do not have adequate life insurance, and what happens to their families if they're underinsured?
Well, while most don't have adequate life insurance, what disturbs me more is that many don't have any life insurance at all, individual life insurance. That's about 43% of our population. And the most common reason that people give is that there are competing priorities. But interestingly, the number two reason that people give is they feel, and it's a misconception, they can't afford it. The most interesting thing I find with life insurance is that last year, thousands of policies were sold in the United States, but not a single person wanted to buy life insurance. So what did they buy it for? They bought it for what life insurance does, not for what life insurance is. It gives peace of mind and security. It allows people to have options, and it, in some cases, can replace income that otherwise would be lost because of the wage earner's death. What happens to the families can be varied. There are all sorts of tragedies that happen. I personally knew of a mother of three who lost her husband in an accident at work. Workers' compensation would not pay anything for her. She was left to raise three young children on an income of $800 a month. I had another poignant story, though, shared with me from a client that had lost her husband, and most interestingly, hers was a positive outcome because of adequate life insurance provided. It gave her the options to choose her lifestyle. It gave her the options to choose to stay single if she wanted to. And those are the stories that happen in real life when you don't have life insurance or adequate life insurance versus having enough.
Explain exactly what term insurance covers.
Term insurance is referred to as pure insurance in that it provides death benefit only. It covers you for a period of a term, like a 10-year term policy, 20-year term. Usually 30 years is the maximum that you can purchase a term policy. It pays a death benefit, but only if you die within that term period. And unless it's renewed or converted at or before the termination of the term, it will then not provide any additional benefits beyond that time. It's pure because it provides no cash value.
Why would someone want to buy a term insurance policy instead of a cash value policy?
Well, the arguments around the discussion of whether to buy term insurance or permanent insurance can get deep and complicated and even lively at times. And we try to explain that while there is really no one-size-fits-all solution to buying life insurance, in many cases we find that while many certain individuals may have different needs, we find that term life insurance may actually give them the best bang for the buck. It provides the largest death benefit for the least cost. It's simple, and people understand it simply.
How does someone figure out how much death benefit they should be purchasing in a term policy and for what number of years?
Well, there's really no one-size-fits-all answer to that question. Someone might have a 30-year mortgage, for example, and maybe they need that insurance to pay off that mortgage, so maybe they get a 30-year term. Or maybe someone has a 5-year construction loan to remodel their house, and they want to be sure that their family isn't straddled with that cost. Or maybe there's an income replacement situation where the individual has a healthy income and their family relies upon that income, so they take out a term policy to cover that particular period. There are some simple rules of thumb, however, and one is, for example, you might take your income, let's say $40,000 a year, multiply it over 10 times, $400,000 life insurance policy. A second rule of thumb might be to add $100,000 death benefit for each additional child to that $400,000. But really, these rules of thumb don't take into consideration other coverage and savings that an individual might have.
Is it usually a good idea to get a term policy that can be converted to a cash value policy sometime in the future? And how do you help people figure that out?
Well, the answer to that question is most definitely it is important. to have that convertibility option at or before the term ends. The individual may or may not need or desire to have that option to take advantage of, but it's an invaluable option nonetheless because it protects insurability. And when it comes to insurability, I like to use the analogy of the beach of insurability. Imagine standing on the beach barefooted and there's a line in front of your toes. That line in front of the toes is the line of insurability. Have something happen to you, that line may move behind your toes, and now you're uninsurable. But with some conditions, you can wait long enough, that line of insurability moves back in front of your toes. And in protecting your insurability is an important thing. And that's what that convertibility feature does. It protects the insurability and provides options in the front end that you can take advantage of at the time of death. So we discussed those in general terms on the front end as to what might happen and why you would want to have that feature. And we also discussed in more detail on the back end what those options can mean to the individual. But quite frankly, most of the policies sold today typically have that feature included.
If someone has health issues, can you still help them qualify to get a term policy?
Well, the simple answer is yes. We, in many cases, can. There really is no way to blanketly say yes to all, though. Insurability can be a moving target, as I just described. And I can tell you that through 30 years of working here at Longevity Alliance with clients for their life insurance needs, we have found coverage for many individuals who have been frustrated. They run into dead ends. They've exhausted their search. They haven't found a policy or haven't found one that's affordable. And although they may pay more if they're not as insurable as someone else, the search nonetheless can be found if we can match up to the right carrier. And I think after 30 years, we at Longevity Alliance have found that we have a nose for matching up our clients to the right policies.
People may see TV ads from term quote companies saying to buy a policy from them because it's the cheapest. Why should someone go to Longevity Alliance to buy a term policy instead of those companies?
Well, the reality is there are a lot of companies, insurance companies, that sell life insurance. Some are strong, some are stronger, some are not so strong. Some are competitive and some are not so competitive. Some offer good service, some don't offer as good a service. But in reality, many of these same carriers that these TV companies offer are the same carriers that we offer. But matching up the right client to the right carrier is one of the most important things that we can offer. I caution against using the word cheap to my clients because you really don't want something that's cheap. You want something that's of good value. And that's what we search for. We provide service. We provide education to our clients. We find that an educated client is more likely to make a wise decision. And we provide quality in the form of the carriers that we work with have to be strong, stable companies. And we have, again, a nose for placing the right policy with the right client.
If someone wants to find out more about buying a term life insurance policy, how can they contact you?
Well, very simply, they can either call us at 800-325-6669 or visit us on the website at www.searchlifeins.com.
Thanks very much, Tom.
Thank you, Jordan. Appreciate the opportunity to be here today.
So if you need to protect your loved ones with a term insurance policy, see how Longevity Alliance may help you find the best policy for your needs and budget. For Money Answers TV, I'm Jordan Goodman.